So you've built internal improvement training at your organization. You've invested your own staff faculty. You've developed curricula and you're running people and teams through programs. But you have this nagging sense that the programs aren't producing the results they should. You're not wrong, and you're not alone. My name's Dave Williams, and I work with quality executives and their teams to understand and strengthen internal improvement capability systems as part of their pursuit of quality across their organization. Today, I want to walk you through how we do that together. Because what I've found is that most organizations are sitting on fixable friction points. They just haven't had a method to visualize. Here's the pattern I see. Organizations invested years in hiring and training staff and then built their own internal improvement programs. That was a really smart move. Internal programs are contextualized the organization, they're taught by people who know the culture, and can reach more staff than sending people to external programs probably ever could. But these programs grew organically. Different faculty contributed content based on their own training and their own understanding. Materials were borrowed and adapted over time. New sessions got added when someone had a good idea. Nobody stepped back to look at the whole thing as a system and edit what no longer fits. The result here is what I call a potluck of methods and content. Everyone brought their favorite dish, but nobody planned the menu. And the cost of that potluck is real. Organizations are investing in training that pulls people away from their work, launching projects that struggle to achieve their aims, and over time, staff start to see improvement work as burdensome rather than fruitful. That's a cultural risk that's hard to reverse. Now, most chief quality officers I work with are proud of what they've built. They should be, but they also know intuitively that their programs aren't as strong as the advanced programs where they learned. They know most of their projects aren't strategic, they take too long and don't get results reliably. And they worry that if improvement work can't show value, leadership will question the investment, chase the next method, or marginalize the work entirely. The problem isn't effort or commitment. The problem is that there's nothing in the market or the literature that shows them how to improve the programs they've already built. That's what I want to take you through today an approach. The way I work is different from what you've experienced in the past. The intent is for you and your team to learn and own your work. It's not helpful for me to come in and diagnose your gaps and hand you a set of recommendations. Instead, I support your staff with methods to explore and appreciate their own system, develop changes that make sense for their organization, and execute those changes using your people. I serve as an advisor, like a coach, and also a subject matter expert, supporting their progress and learning. They own the work. Now, let me walk you through three areas where this evaluation tends to surface the most important findings. The first is the offerings map. I ask the organization's faculty to describe each of their programs. What's the aim? What methods are being taught? Who's the intended audience? And what is the expected impact? Then I ask them to describe how programs are connected and the journey staff would progress through from basic awareness through to proficiency or mastery. Application in practice is a key thread. This exercise may sound simple, but it's revealing. It often surfaces gaps, overlaps, and disconnects that nobody could see until you saw the whole system of work. Programs that were built at different times by different people may cover similar ground or leave important territory unaddressed. The progression from introductory to advanced may not be coherent. When the faculty see the full picture laid out, they immediately start identifying where to focus, where to adapt, and most importantly, where to trim. The second area is methods coherence. This is where the potluck shows up most clearly. I use the model for improvement as my core framework. I rely on a focused set of tools for most of the improvement work I do. When I sit down with an organization's faculty and walk through what they're teaching, a common realization is that there's no unified method connecting the pieces. Different faculty may teach different approaches to similar problems. Tools get introduced without a clear rationale for when to use them and how they relate to each other, or how to use them with fidelity. When faculty look at their own materials together, they often notice patterns: dense slide decks with figures borrowed from other presentations, explanations that may have drifted from the original methods as they've been adapted over time, examples that really aren't good reflections of what works or doesn't work, incorrect or missing citations. Faculty may not have had opportunities to continue developing as practitioners beyond their initial training. So they're teaching their understanding of the content rather than continued study and deep lived experience applying the methods in practice. This is not a criticism of the people who built it. It's what happens when programs grow without periodic review and alignment. And aligning on core methods with a clear rationale for what's taught and why is one of the highest value changes an organization can make. The third area is outcomes. Most organizations measure participant satisfaction after training. Did people enjoy it, or did they feel they gained new knowledge? Those are useful data points, but don't answer the question that matters: what proportion of improvement projects coming out of these programs achieve measurable results? Did projects connect organizational priorities? Were changes tested and implemented? Were sponsors actively involved? Did the gains hold? When you start measuring the program's outcomes rather than how people felt about attending, you get a very different picture of where to invest your improvement efforts. Here's what I find rewarding about this work: organizations that go through this learning journey gain something they didn't have before: right perspective and clarity for where to act. Staff get to evaluate what's working and diagnose what's not. They develop ideas to refine their approach. They get excited about the direction because they can see it. And the CQOs walk away with a plan they can act on and results they can show to colleagues in the board. On the other side of this work, organizations have more clearly designed programming, a coherent set of methods, and a plan to develop their faculty as a learning system over time. They also build capability in areas that are hard to develop without a partner, using tools and methods with greater fidelity, understanding and learning from variation using Shewhart charts, and advanced approaches like plan experimentation using factorial design to test changes and understand interactions. This kind of capability also positions their teams to document their work rigorously and contribute to the field through peer reviewed publications and conference presentations. The goal is always the same: build their capability so these offerings and these capabilities become permanently theirs. Here's something you can try this week. I want you to pick a recent core improvement program. Ask your faculty how many of the participant projects showed measurable results. Did any achieve their aim? If their answer is they're not sure or the number is low, you've found your starting. Thanks for watching. My name's Dave Williams. Please reach out if I can be helpful in your pursuit of quality as an organizational strategy.